Controversial night raids in Afghanistan have claimed one more civilian life. This time, an Afghan teacher was killed by US forces in the northeastern Kunar Province. The attack has drawn criticism from Afghan lawmakers. They believe such attacks are in clear violation of a recent US-Afghan agreement about the night raids that target homes and other residential compounds.
This school teacher has been killed in a nighttime raid carried out by the American forces. U.S. military men here in Kabul are saying that this school teacher had links to militant groups in that part of this country. 5 other civilians have also been detained by American forces in Kunar Province. But now Saleh Mohammed Saleh, a man who is representing the people of Kunar Province in the Afghan parliament, is telling us that this school teacher had no links to any militant groups in Afghanistan. He believes that this nighttime raid has been carried out by American forces and it was not coordinated with the Afghan security forces. This has been also confirmed by the governor of Kunar Province. The governor of Kunar Province has reported that they didn't know about the raid. In it, the American forces should have coordinated the raid with the Afghan security forces. And now Saleh Mohammed Saleh, the Afghan MP, is saying that this raid has violated the recent agreement signed between Kabul and Washington over the issue of nighttime raids.
Well, to discuss this issue more, I'm joined from Washington by Michael Maloof, former Pentagon official. Welcome to the programme, sir. Mr. Maloof, this recent partnership deal between the US and Afghanistan, how much is it in accordance with Barack Obama's word to bring back troops and end the war in Afghanistan?
Well, the United States is not going to be bringing back all the troops. This agreement was the one that you referred to earlier was something that was agreed to weeks earlier to allow U.S. and Afghan forces a mode of operation so that to avoid the very thing that allegedly had happened with the school teacher and with other civilians in the area. As far as the United States is concerned, I think the ultimate goal is to stay in Afghanistan, at least in a downsized fashion, at least until 2024, as I understand it. That means there's going to be a U.S. presence there for quite some time. But that doesn't mitigate the agreement that was struck a little earlier on just how the security forces are supposed to operate. And it sounds like there was a clear violation. I'm sure it's going to be investigated as well, but a clear violation of that arrangement in which Afghan forces were supposed to take the lead on any operation, and U.S. forces were to be there in a supportive role.
Indeed. Well, I mean, how much will the training of Afghan security forces by U.S. troops in this decade, the next decade, be effective and worthwhile, keeping in mind the green-on-blue attacks taking place frequently?
Well, that is problematic, having Afghan forces who are being trained by the United States then to turn on U.S. forces on their teachers. I think that's one of the risks that are taken, but I think the United States is committed to a policy of training these Afghans to turn over security operations to them. Now, the problem is going to be whether Taliban is going to infiltrate over that period of time. And I suspect that unless the United States is confident that they have gotten rid of the Taliban, that you're going to see increasing efforts by Taliban to infiltrate and indeed engage U.S. forces while wearing Afghan uniforms. It's a very problematic issue, but I think that U.S. security forces are very, very aware of it and are also being very watchful of it. But you cannot eliminate it entirely. That's for sure.
And of course, the longer U.S. forces stay in Afghanistan, instances of PTSD are likely to rise, instances of holy sanctities being insulted. The Quran burnings were the main ones. I mean, what will we see from the Afghan people?
Well, I think the United States has a very bad track record in providing cultural sensitivity and training to U.S. troops. You're dealing with 19, 20-year-olds. They're just barely out of high school, many of them, and they could care less about foreign cultures, let alone their own. And this is a very difficult problem. And the instances of violations of some very serious cultural taboos in Afghanistan, which all of us certainly at our age appreciate, has had a very, very debilitating impact on U.S., Afghan, and indeed U.S. Pakistani relations. I think that there has to be more of this kind of training if U.S. forces intend to work with Afghan forces for any extended period of time. But I'm sorry to say that I think that you're going to see more instances of these kinds of violations.
Indeed. Well, on that note, we'll leave it there. Many thanks to Michael Maloof, former Pentagon official from Washington.